Om Gananam Tva Ganapatigum Havamahe Kavim Kainam Upamashavastamam Jyestarajam Brahma Brahmas Patana Srivamuti Bhisisanam. Hi, I'm going to talk for a minute and I'll give you an opportunity. If you don't already have a candle and a match handy, go ahead and get that while I'm giving the introduction to class. We're about to move into 2021, and at this time of year, for probably the last 6 or 7 years, I've done a month-long practice on each one of the lower 6 chakras, and this year is no exception. However, the specific overarching goal of this time around is very specific. In both Western science and Eastern philosophy, there is a belief that humans underuse the full capacity of their brains. Usually that number is given as that we use less than 10%. There in Eastern philosophy, there is the belief that through barking dogs, that through that through activating the chakras, then we access those parts of the brain. And let me just read a quote that says it far better than I can. When the chakras are awakened, then the limiting factors of the mind are slowly removed so that consciousness shines through more and more in its pristine glory. There is no evolution of consciousness when the chakras are opened. Rather, there is an increase of awareness associated with purification of the mind. The term unfoldment of awareness might be better, or expansion of awareness. Another term that came to my mind this week was experience, to just get to keep working with our minds to where we simply experience what's happening fully as we're going through life. One more thing before we start. Brian is going to put up an image now of the book that started this particular approach to the chakras for me, Kundalini Tantra from the Saraswati school. And I highly recommend it. I have been using it for years now. Thank you, Ron. And have still not gleaned all the information from it. All right, so hopefully you've got your candle ready. And we'll go ahead and tune in and start the practice. Ground your body, stabilize your body. For those of you that work with Mulband, you can lightly engage that or have an energetic awareness of the center low part of your body. You may feel as though the legs, feet, buttocks are pressing down into the ground more firmly than they might do of their own accord. From a place of stability, then the movement towards a more elevated, a more enlightened state of being naturally evolves as the spine lifts upward. And shifting to that mindset, that awareness of just being able to experience, simply experience. Sit inside your body, experience your breath. do your best to continually enhance or increase the amount that you're focusing on the experience of breathing. And as you increase that experience, let go of any other thoughts or activities or feelings that are about times before or after right now. And now I'm going to step over the threshold into this more reverential space of practice. I do it by chanting Om Namo Gurudev Namo 3 times, because that's the tradition I learned in. If you have a different mantra that makes that auspiciousness happen, then use that. Deep inhale. And as you chant, you want the Om of Om Namo to feel like it's striking the third eye area. Here we go. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Inhale deeply. Focus on the center of the pelvic floor and feel like it's on a little elevator and you're lifting that elevator up. Good, relax. Go ahead and take your first 2 fingers of either hand and press firmly at the spot in between your eyebrows. Let's start a breath of fire, feeling as though the breath is moving in from where you're pressing. Keep going. What can help with this practice is to have your eyes focus where your 2 fingertips are pressing. Over the course of this practice, you may start to see a small dot of light. Keep going. You may also start to feel a pulsation. Either of those are appropriate and indications that you are doing the practice correctly. You may not experience of either of those and may still be doing the practice correctly. It just takes a while. Keep going for just a little bit longer. For chakras 2 through 6, there is a reflex spot on the front of the body that helps us to experience and to learn to feel where the individual chakras are as we continue to develop our ability to feel the actual site of the chakra in our spinal columns, we don't need to use those reference points on the front of the body as much. With Ājñā-Chakra, with the 6th chakra, there is this same reference point, this brow point, but there is an energetic connection, a nadi that actually goes from here to the very center of the brain. Let's take a deep inhale now. And if you work with Mulband, go ahead and engage Mulband. If you work with Jalandhara Bandha, go ahead and engage Jalandhara Bandha. Relax. Brian is going to now put up an image that shows the pineal gland. The pineal gland is a distinct subset part of the 6th chakra. It's great to be able to see where this is visually so that over time you can start to really feel that spot in your head. So it's going to be directly straight back from this spot in the middle of your eyebrows and directly in line with the top of your ears. Go ahead and work with imprinting that image, that sense of where the pineal gland is. We'll use that today and for the next several weeks following. Good. Okay, so the first step in the very gentle, easy practice we're going to do today is the brow point is going to be in contact with the floor. And if your back is stiff and your forehead doesn't make it to the floor, then put a book or stack something up so that that place we've been pressing actually has a physical contact. If you need to switch how you're sitting so that it's easier for you to fold forward, then do that. So the posture is going to be, ideally, if you could do it, interlace your fingers behind your back and your index fingers point up, and the brow point is making contact with the floor. Go ahead and come forward. If your shoulders have the flexibility, go ahead and squeeze your shoulder blades together behind your back. So that's a drawing of your shoulder blades towards each other. Long, deep breathing. And again, as we did before, if you can imagine that you're breathing in through your third eye spot, that spot between your eyebrows, in and out of that spot. If doing the arms is too painful, or if there's a physical restriction, modify in whatever way works best for you, but keep that focus at the brow point and the sense of breathing in and out of the brow point. If you're good at visualizing, imagine that there's a very tiny little straw that goes from your the spot between your eyebrows to that location of the pineal gland that we visualized, that we were able to see just before we started. Breathe in, draw the breath through that narrow passageway to the center of the head. Exhale, breathe back out. Breath moving in and out of that narrow, energetic passageway. Gradually, over time, our ability to visualize these things grows. And it actually grows in proportion with the stimulation of the pineal gland. So you may or may not have visual sensations, physical sensations today. You just got to keep working at it slowly over time. Just a little bit longer. Oftentimes in meditation practices, the pineal gland is visualized as being golden, like a tiny little golden egg. For most adults, the pineal gland has atrophied to the size of like a grain of rice. People who meditate, and this has been borne out through MRI testing, the pineal gland is larger and more robust. Continue the breath practice a tiny bit longer, and imagine that as you're breathing in and out, your pineal gland is activating, it's plumping up, growing in size, growing in potency. Great, inhale. Come all the way back, upright, engage Mul Bandha, engage Jalandhara Bandha. All right, so before we move to the next one, if you need to give your knees a break, extend your legs out, massage your knees. Or if you're enjoying the light pressure, pulsing, or sense of light at the brow point, stick with that. Just go into that space. All right, next thing that we're gonna do, wrap your right arm underneath your left armpit, try and grab your shoulder blade behind, and then left arm is over the right on top of it, and you're reaching back trying to hold the shoulder blade on that side. All right, and then from here, lean forward as much as you can with a straight spine and hold yourself here. So you're about 30 degrees, about a third of the way from straight up. Go to long, deep breathing. You'll be able to feel your breath straining against your arms wrapped around you. And now we're going to enhance this practice by using two mudras. Eye mudra, which you may be quite familiar with. The eyes gaze straight up, like you could look out the top of your head, Shambhavi mudra. And the tongue reaches up along the roof of the mouth until it finds the soft palate at the back. Both of these practices can create a little strain at first. You're going to do your best, strain a little bit, and then relax, re-engage when you can. Our tongue is pressing just below where the pituitary gland is. So there's the throat is there, and just on the other side of it is a very thin layer of bone with the pituitary on the other side. Feel as though your tongue is trying to touch the pituitary gland.
The goal of this practice, if you want to keep coming back to it, is to enhance your ability to experience the current moment without being disturbed, disrupted, or distracted by anything that came before or anything that's coming after. Keep squeezing just a little bit longer. Keep trying to hold on as far back along your shoulder blades as you can. Great. Inhale. Come back upright. Engage mole bond. Exhale, relax. Shake out your arms and hands. Take the palms of your hands and rub them in circles against each other, and increasing a sense of heat. Hot, hot, hot. Increasing a sense of energy. The way that these month-long practices work is that they give us time to really master practices by doing them diligently for a long period of time, to really work with individual chakras to improve our ability to work with things that actually activate those chakras. A little bit longer, get hot, hot, hot. And maybe the most important thing is that you pick some part of what we do today and do it every day, even if it's just like 3 minutes. All right, good. Hands nice and hot. Reach your arms out straight in front. Feel the pulsing sensation in the palms of your hands. Experience your physical body and the pulsation in the palms of your hands to the exclusion of everything else. Keep concentrating on the sensations in your palms. If your mind starts to slip away to something else, come back to concentrating on the palms. To end, we'll end in just a moment. We're going to make our hands into as tight a fist as we can. And then you're going to imagine someone's holding your wrists and providing resistance as you pull your tight fists into your chest. We'll do that on a held breath, and when your fists get all the way to your chest, strong exhale out. All right, go ahead and make a tight fist of your hands. Someone grasps your wrist, hold your breath, pull, 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 pull. You should be pulling so hard that your arms shake, maybe your back shakes, all the way in. Deep inhale, reach back out. Tight fists, resist, pull, 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 pull. Third and final time, deep inhale. Pause for a second and feel additional energy, chi, prana, vitality at the center of your chest. Experience that energy at the center of your chest to the exclusion of everything else. All right, good. Okay, the next thing that we're going to do is go upside down, or we're going to enhance circulation to the brain, and in particular towards the pineal and pituitary glands. Going upside down can cause all kinds of problems. So it increases your blood pressure. If you have any kind of a situation where increasing your blood pressure is bad for you, you're going to have to mitigate this practice so that it works for you. If you have troubles with your neck, again, you're going to have to come up with some variations. I'll make some suggestions as we go through. So physiologically, there's a few things that are happening. Some of the blood vessels in the brain are as small as a hair. You can't even see them with the naked eye. As those lose some of their vitality, some might have atrophied, or we're going to very slowly and over time increase the intracranial pressure in order to open those blood vessels back up. Another thing that happens when we're upside down is that the diaphragm has to work against the weight of the organs, and that also increases blood pressure very slightly. What I've learned during COVID times is that there's almost any yoga practice that might seem crazily extreme, that if I just do it for a minute every day, I get dramatically better quickly. So go slow, slow, slow. If you feel too much pressure in your head, that is an indication that you've done as much as you need to do today. But just keep doing a little bit every day. All right, so if you know that you're not going to be upside down for very long, then go ahead and lie with your legs straight up so that we can start to create movement of blood flow from the legs to the core. In fact, let's all do it together. I'm going to have a pillow handy so that I can raise my hips up. Anytime you're going in and out of these postures in yoga, you ideally do the move with your breath held. So come down and relax on your back. If you know that your low back gets strained easily, support it by putting your hands underneath your hips. Inhale, hold the breath in, and work towards being able to take your legs straight up, straight. And then hang out here for a little bit. If you can, use the strength of your core and the strength of your arms pressing down to lift your hips up more, and you can put a blanket or a block underneath your hips. This may be the appropriate pose for you to do, and if it is, then you want to go towards now focusing on your breath, just as we did before. Breathe in through the center between your eyebrows and draw it into the center of your head. Breathe back out. If you don't feel the center of your head yet, simply breathe, feeling the spot between your eyebrows. So if you have a condition such as glaucoma, where you never want to have your head below your heart, then this would be the way to stay for the rest of the practice. If you are going to put your head lower than your heart, you want to spend at least a minute like this beforehand, letting the blood flow start to alter. Whenever you do come out of this position, you're going to come out of it the same way that you went in. Held breath, lower the legs down. So there's several different versions of going upside down. The first one is hare pose, rabbit pose, where you sit on your heels. Put your forehead on the floor, hold on to the soles of your feet. So actually my head is about right at the hairline, or where your hairline used to have been. And keep holding on to your feet, and we're going to lift the bottom up, and as your bottom lifts up, you come to the top of your head. So this is a great pose for getting circulation to the head, for stimulating the crown chakra, and also for stretching out the spine and the back. So you may want to stay here with long, slow, deep breathing. If that's where you're going to stay, stay there. If you know that you have neck issues that are always going to be a challenge to being weight-bearing on your head, then you can lie on your bed, on your stomach, and slide off of your bed enough to where your head, neck, shoulders are off, and you can lie without any weight bearing on your head at all, hanging off the side of your bed. If you like to play around with doing headstand, a great way to begin is to be about a foot away from the wall, so that you have enough room to cantilever yourself up, but also you've got that support, physical and psychological, for going upright. And the first stage and legitimate stage of headstand, simply having the top of your head on the floor. If you did hare pose, rabbit pose, just prior to this, then it's a great way to learn where the good balance spot is on the top of your head. Whatever the ultimate pose is that you use today, work towards eventually being able to do it for 30 seconds. But slowly, slowly, catchy monkey. Go as slowly as you need to reach the goal. These are challenging practices that can actually cause injury, so you want to just take your time. We'll just be here for a tiny bit longer, and while you're here, go ahead and see if you can start to develop the ability to visualize that tiny little golden spot that is the pineal gland. Think about improving the functionality of your brain. And then whatever position you're in, the best way to come out of it is the way that you came into it. And then we're going to roll our spine upright. give our body a moment or two to normalize. While you're here though, go ahead and let your eyes gaze upwards as though you're looking at your own pineal gland inside of your head. Excellent. Okay. So in the week ahead, you could do a short few minutes of whatever inversion works for you. Next, we're going to move to pranayama practice. And while I'm talking, let's go ahead and balance the flow of oxygen through the nose by putting our hands in opposite armpits. Arms out, step it up, and then squish. Great. So this works, usually takes, is effective within a minute. So we'll just stay here. We're going to do, the pranayama practice we're going to do is moving towards 1 minute breath. And that will be trying to break the inhale, the exhale, and holding the breath in into equal segments. One of the approaches with Kundalini falls under the hierarchy of Tantric practices. And what Tantric practices do is these are things we can do that physiologically change us so that we get to a meditative state. Balancing the flow of breath in and out of the nostrils is one of those ways for our mind to immediately go to a meditative state. The amount of airflow through the nostrils changes throughout the day. Usually one nostril or the other is dominant. And whenever there's that imbalance, there's going to be a reduced ability to be in a meditative state. So this practice that we're doing right now helps to balance airflow in the nostrils. And then the other time when that happens is when we're not breathing in or out. So the holding the breath in or holding the breath out is another time when the flow of air through the nostrils is balanced. So today's practice, we'll do alternate nostril breathing with the 3 parts being inhaling, hold the breath in, exhaling. Let's do a little bit of breath of fire before we start. We'll do a couple of minutes to really saturate our blood flow with oxygen so that we're able to hold the breath in for a little bit longer. Here we go. Woohoo! Okay, inhale. Hold the breath in, and rather than holding the breath in like you're trying to force it, hold the breath in like you're just able to float. Good. In a second, we're going to exhale. Go ahead and take your hand up, close off your left nostril, and we're going to slowly, slowly, slowly exhale out the right. Inhale through the right, long, slow, stretched out. If you know Ujjayi, use Ujjayi to help you stretch out your breath. Your right hand might still be in the armpit, touching the rib cage. Feel that expansion through your whole rib cage, through your abdomen as you breathe in. Go ahead and let the right hand come down to your knee. Establish Gyan Mudra. Index finger and thumb tip touching. Breath held in, breath held in. Engage Mulband, engage Jalandhara Bandha if you know it. So holding the breath in that sense of you're floating, you're not resisting, there's no muscle tension other than the light hold in the rib cage. Good, and then we'll switch our fingers, or you can switch hands. Exhale out the left. Inhale left. And then hold. Hold however works for you. You can have one nostril closed as long as no air goes in and out. You could close both nostrils. You may drop both hands down to the knees. Find that place of ease, floating, non-resistance, and then we'll exhale out the right. Inhale right. Hold. Exhale left. Inhale left. Hold. Exhale right. Inhale right. Hold. Exhale left. Go ahead, continue at your own pace. Many of you are familiar with the techniques to enhance this practice. You might be sitting in Siddhasana with the heel pressed into Muladhara. Everyone should be working towards using Ujjayi breath during this practice, so that you slightly constrict your throat, so that you hear the breath moving in and out like a slight raspiness. The tongue mudra that we used earlier, where you're trying to actively stimulate the pituitary, use that for as much of the time as you can. for anyone that works with Mula Bandha and Jalandhara Bandha, use them both lightly during the hold. We're about halfway through the practice. I like to emphasize that the most important part is, with the breath held in, you want to feel a sense of profound stillness and complete ease and relaxation. It should feel effortless and like you can just be as still as a statue, as still as a rock, as still as a tree. after your next exhale, stop, alternate nostril breathing. And we'll do a nice relaxation on the back for several minutes. Go ahead and come down onto your back. And it's always a great bonus to tighten everything. Once you get down on the ground, tighten everything. You might be strong enough to where you actually lift up into a boat pose or a stretch pose, squeeze and tighten. And then let go, and let go a little more profoundly than you would have if you hadn't tightened everything. And we'll have some nice gong relaxation.
come upright for meditation. So you can roll along your spine, or you can roll over onto your side. And I'll give you a couple of minutes to get set up for the first portion of the meditation. If you have a candle and are going to use that, great. That's probably the best choice for today. But you can have your focal point be anything. It helps if it's something that's meaningful to you. But if you've got the candle, go ahead and use that. You're going to set yourself up so that the flame of the candle is as close to the level of your brow spot as you can get it. And you want to set it up so that the flame doesn't flicker. You'd like the flame to be as still as it can possibly be. Go ahead and get yourself set up like that. Also, whatever you're gazing at is ideally an arm's length distance away. The inside of the pineal gland is has structures that look very much like rods and cones, and in fact evolved from the same structures. The pineal gland is also innervated with optical nerve tissue in the same optical nerve tissue that goes to the eyes. So the belief that the pineal gland is associated with this sense of sight, with our sense of sight, has a basis in its physical nature. All right, so hopefully you've had time to get set up. So some of the important parts of this I've already discussed about how you should be sitting in relation to the object you're going to gaze at. And also you want your physical body to be as still as it can possibly be. And you want your eyes to be as still as they can possibly be. So that's that relationship to the candle flame being completely still. Sorry. We'll alternate between gazing at the flame or your focal point. And there'll be a moment when your eyes start to burn or water. The length of time that it takes to get there will lengthen over the course of your developing this practice over time. When your eyes are ready to close, as your eyes draw down, then you want to find the mirror image, the image that's imprinted on your retina, and try and see that mirror image. Keep holding it as long as you can. It might start to fade or sort of shift to one side or the other. See if you can focus. See if you can draw back in on that image. Drawing it back in, reestablishing it. And when it's completely gone, then you open your eyes onto your candle flame. Ideally not blinking during the time when you're gazing at your object.
when your eyes are closed, it might even feel inviting to have that mirror image sit right at the brow spot. If that works for you, cultivate that. If it doesn't, then you don't need to. Alternating between gazing and visualizing the mirror image with the eyes closed. If you've never done this Tritaka practice before, stick with exactly what you're doing. Many of you, though, have used Tritaka and candle tip gazing specifically quite a bit. And if that's the case, then when your eyes are closed, really work to have the after image be right at the brow spot. And when you inhale, breathe the image with the breath to the center of your head, to the actual location of the pineal gland, of Ājñā-Chakra. And when you exhale, it goes from the pineal gland back through that tiny little energetic straw, the nadi, to the brow spot. Inhale from the brow spot to the pineal gland. Exhale from the pineal gland to the brow spot, drawing the after image back and forth to the center of your head, to the brow spot. When you can no longer see it, go ahead and open your eyes. Gaze at your image again. It actually takes energy to keep focused on this practice. You may be starting to feel fatigued or having a more challenging time maintaining your focus. Redouble your efforts for just a bit longer. We'll end this Tritaka practice in just a few more seconds. If there's only one thing that you continue to work with during the week ahead, this would be the thing that I recommend. We'll actually build on Tritaka over the next 4 weeks and the amount of time that we can maintain the practice. Go ahead and cease Tritaka now. Sit with your eyes closed. If you're fatigued from sitting upright, then you can relax on your back or lean against a wall for this last portion of the meditation. Ideally, you've been working with a candle flame for your practice. That will be really helpful for what we're going to do for this second meditation. This reveals the relationship between our individual consciousness that resides in the center of the chest and universal consciousness that we associate with the crown chakra. Do your best to have a sense of that candle flame sitting at the very center of your chest, perhaps on the surface of your chest, or if you can, deeper inside your body. This is the visual representation that is often seen or used or cultivated to have a sense of our soul, the portion of the infinite that resides within us. It's a candle flame that has no source. There's no candle or wick associated with it. It's like a self-created eternal flame. Do your best to have a sense of this eternal flame residing deep inside your chest. It may be apparent to you today, it may not. Now have a sense of a golden fountain that comes out of the top of your head, the 7th chakra, Sahasrara. The true universal fountain, the connection to the infinite. To sit with this golden fountain that goes out in all directions, all around you. Again, you may have a strong visual representation of this, or it may simply be a sense or an awareness of a golden fountain pouring out at the top of your head. And now simultaneously hold that with the small flame of our individual consciousness in the center of the chest. Holding both simultaneously, they're both made of the same light. The infinite and the finite. Now, our ability to communicate and connect between these two is through the 6th chakra, Ājñā-Chakra. We're going to simply breathe, visualizing a connection that goes up and down from the little candle flame in the center of our chest, moving through the pineal gland and then up to the fountain at the top of the head. Inhale, expanding upwards. Exhale, drawing down. From the tiny flame of individual consciousness in the chest, inhaling up, moving through the pineal gland and connecting to the fountain of universal consciousness. Exhale, descend, dropping through the pineal gland,
to the flame of individual consciousness. Feel that connection that happens through the pineal gland. You don't have to continue feeling the connection with your breath. If you can feel it continually without using your breath, that's fine. And just for the last minute of the practice, we'll do a very strong Shambhavi mudra. So the eyes are closed, but they're going to look up as strongly as you can towards that fountain at the top of the head. Feel how the pineal gland, how Ājñā-Chakra gets stronger by relaying this connection. Seems like a good time to come out. All right. You know what? Let's come out of this by rubbing the palms together till they get hot. And then cup them around the eye sockets. A lot of you are familiar with this. You want to seal all the light out to start with. I like to cross my fingers over each other and press into the third eye spot while I'm doing it. Feel the energy from the palms soothe, calm, strengthen all the tissues below them. And then you can open your eyes inside the closed palms. And then as you're ready, come out. Good. All right, that's it for today. Choose one aspect of what we did today. Ideally the candlelight gazing, maybe that and a little upside down. Do your best to incorporate a little bit of daily practice so that you build up the profound nature of these practices. Let's do one long Sat Nam to end. Here we go. Sat Nam. The light in me bows to the light in you. Sat Nam. Namaste. See you next time.